But something else I caught in that, in the way Jason and Janet are so quick to accept the apology and move on and
Mhm.
shift focus to Kristen, is Janet. Janet wants to take Kristen down.
Oh yes, we're gonna sweep it all under the rug with you, Jasmine and Melissa,
Mhm.
so that we can turn around and just blame Kristen.
Janet thinks she's running her own Fox Force 5 here. That's why I keep saying she's playing a Housewives game on a non-Housewives show. And it's also probably why some of her schemes and plotting, they don't land. This isn't a show as sophisticated and catty. This is get wasted, scream at each other. She's playing a game for a different show and a different demographic. Believe me, Brittany Cartwright Couchy is not going to pick up on these little plots the way Vanderpump and Rinna would.
We gonna stir it up and do things our way. So if you wanna move, get out of our way.
Hey.
Happy PCP Thursday, listeners and viewers
Like,
on YouTube.
it's be like, I know it's actually Cali, but it's gonna be like going back to the valley. That's what
I mean, we could reappropriate.
that's what
it
I
that
thought
way.
it
I don't
said
know.
for years. So
Oh, really? Well, I mean, you are a Valley Boy. So.
yeah, I hear everything I hear goes through a lens of how it's about me. So
That's just, you would like to think that you are special, but that's just humanity. We all think it's about ourselves.
yeah. But yeah, if you can't tell before we tell you what this episode's about, like there's any big surprise, make sure to click subscribe, make sure to follow, make sure to share, all the things, just spread us around like an STD.
Gross.
Yeah.
True.
Well, that's right. 818, we are here for the Valley.
Mm-hmm. I love the Valley. I was there over the weekend. It was so great. It was so much fun.
I was kind of, so it's something, it's the like opening thing, but it's not really because it opens with the housewarming party. But it's stuck in my head that Jax has been selling a lot of Britney's stuff, not just the rings, but she was saying like her purses.
Her Jenny Craig bags, like from which she was hawking Jenny Craig.
Okay, it was Jenny Craig? Okay.
Yes.
I misheard. And I just thought because she's from the backwoods, she's very rural. I was like, does she not know it's called Jimmy Choo? I thought she said Jimmy Craig. I was like, who was
she had a brand deal with Jenny Craig, like before Jenny Craig went bankrupt.
Yeah.
They paid her a lot of money to be a spokesperson for her to lose weight with Jenny Craig. And so I mean, granted, I don't know exactly what these Jenny Craig bags looked like, but obviously it was some type of like Britney, Jenny Craig swag or whatever it was. So he was, but also within that moment there at the salon with Janet, Brittany, Sheena and Michelle was the infamous Jared, who you and I could not remember who Zach was talking about, who Zach told to go F himself.
Yeah.
The previous episode. It was that guy that was sitting there. That is Jared. Okay. And thank you to the listeners who did tell us in the comments on YouTube who Jared was, because then I was like, oh, and then we saw him and I was like, there he is. There's Jared. I was like, why couldn't you guys have done this last week? Just put that little salon bit in last week. The timeline doesn't matter. It would have been fine.
Yeah. They could do one of those quick little flashbacks that they always, I mean, they do it throughout this episode with other things, but just like give us some context.
I mean, let's get real. All of Jax's quote unquote from rehab interviews probably were all filmed at the same time. He probably filmed them all in one day on his phone. I mean, that's just me being a dick, but that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
Producer got on with him and was like, hey, we're going to talk about this, this, and this. I want you to record these things.
Yeah.
And that's what he did.
So what we did, where it kicks off is, of course, Kristen's Kristen and Luke's housewarming party.
Mm-hmm.
And they introduce Zach cracked me up when he's talking about they're introducing Jenna, who another one. I'm glad they gave context for her, unlike Jared, because on this
Yes.
show we have Jax, Janet, Jason, now Jared, Jenna. Me and my siblings are all J's. I can't keep it together, so. It's like I thought Jenna was Janet. It's like wait, Jenna slept with Aaron. Like,
I had to go back. I was like, what is this girl's name again? I was like, oh god, like please. I just feel like they should be wearing name tags the entire time, like because yeah, no. And I miswrite their names all the time on my notes.
Yeah.
Like,
Zach was funny about it though when he's explaining who Jenna is. Naturally, he said, what does he say? He's like, of course I met her through Sheena. What did she say? She's our Kevin Bacon. It's always 1 degree of Sheena Shea.
You know, well, I love it how Jesse's really trying to make her dating Aaron fit into this timeline of Michelle cheating on him with Aaron, which may or may not fit. I don't know. And in all honesty, again, I don't care. I am with Janet in that if I was married to Jesse, I would cheat on you too. Like I dislike Jesse with a passion. So he is just a different version of a Jax Taylor. So
he was he was a lot more reasonable this episode. I don't know if there was a gap between filming, like even the after show. It seemed like he was trying to be a voice of reason, like he was a little softer. And I was like, someone had to have spoken to him. He had to see himself.
It's like a calm before the storm. It's also like, I feel like it's like him just knowing like these wait for your moment. Like wait for your moment, because I don't know, like he's a different type of narcissist than Jax. Jax is like your stereotypical look at me malignant narcissist. Whereas Jesse is more of that covert vulnerable narcissist. Oh, poor me. Oh my gosh. His look at me is the let me spend money on all this wine. Let me buy a flashy car. But he's not so much of like sex, drugs, and rock and roll type.
I wonder, given the timeline of this, because this episode is late, and where we'll get into it later, but where Jesse's showing concern because Jax is getting out the next day. As I'm thinking back, I'm like, oh, maybe he's making a point of being the nice guy, because once Jax is unleashed, Jax is going to make him look great again. They're going to have Jax back on screen as the villain. So he knows.
Bingo!
Yeah. So no wonder he wanted to go. Yeah. He volunteered to go get him out of rehab. It's like,
of course, look at me. I'm such a good person. Yeah. No, screw off. Fuck off. But let's go back to the other narcissist, Janet. Again, she is overdressed for the occasion. Like, I was like, why are you wearing a dressed up pantsuit, like a tuxedo pantsuit, for a housewarming party? If Jason had been dressed up too, I would have said, oh, well, maybe they had come from another party or they were going to something else as well. But he was not dressed up as well, if that makes sense. Like, I was just like, what did you...
I have a theory about Janet. Watching this episode, I finally pieced it together. Even though she studied Vanderpump Rules and under Sheena and all that, what she thinks she's doing is playing a housewives game. She thinks she's a real housewife, and the tactics she's using on these people is straight out of Rinna's playbook. And she's really trying to bring that Beverly Hills Housewives to this show, which is a completely different dynamic, and that's why people watch it. It's separate from Housewives. It's a fresher, no, you know what I mean, though. It's a different, more contemporary dynamic, and the way we'll get into it later, but the way she prods people looking for a reaction and all this, it's so Housewives coded.
I would agree with that. I would absolutely agree with that. Um, I do have to ask you, would you get Scrotox?
I don't know what that is. I don't.
They explained it to you in the show.
Yeah, but then I
This
just
where you
started thinking about Botox because I'm always like, ooh, what? What?
it's Botox for your balls.
Yeah, no, I'm not getting into that. I'm like Jax. We're just like, yeah. But they did have, yeah, I don't know if it's, I don't even know, is it Botox? Is it like the same?
It is.
Oh,
It's Botox. It's literally injecting Botox into your scrotum. That's why they call it Scrotox.
yeah. Well, anyways. Anyway.
I just like to make you squirm.
Yeah, no, I was like, that's a new one.
I have heard of it before though, but I was like, it just is unnecessary. Like,
Yeah, I
just
thought that was
no.
like a joke for younger women married to rich old men. Like, I thought it was like a something. If I've heard of it, it's the context of, say, a Tom and Erica situation as a joke. I didn't even know it really existed.
Oh yeah, it definitely existed. But the fact that like Zach knows all about it and that Zach would get it, that did not surprise me because it definitely is more like, because the men that I've heard do it are in the gay community. So yeah, not that many straight guys are like doing it because they just whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're getting more and more uncomfortable. So I'll pull the ripcord on that one.
Yeah. Well, anyways. So this Jenna supposedly dated Michelle Sinai's boyfriend Aaron, the other man. And something I caught was that, like, even in this scene, Jesse was trying to be more mature. In his head, he knows, maybe he doesn't know the filming, but I'm trying to put myself in his head. Maybe he doesn't know the filming blocks, how the episodes will be grouped. And at this point, he knows he has a few days till Jax gets out. And he's like, the monster is coming back. He was much more mature with this Jenna than I thought. I expected him to be. He held back on the prostitute comments and about Michelle. He was like, so.
Because he's smarter than Jax.
Yeah.
I've said this before. Like he's smarter than Jax. Him and Janet are both smarter than Jax. Jax just is like, he's a fire hose with his narcissism, with his violence. You know, like that's what he is. Whereas Jesse is like, he's like a cat fountain. You know, it's just trickling. It's kind of quiet there in the corner, running. You know, like it looks sleek with the, you know, stainless steel. Like that's what he is. He's just this little cat fountain in the corner.
I was thinking like a cat cannon. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like throwing cats. But you did. It's my fault, not yours, because you did get the context of a fire hose. So I should have. But something though that caught me, and this is how you know Luke is really growing into reality TV. Because last season, obviously, we thought he was an awkward serial killer out in the woods. This season, we've said he's much friendlier, much more relaxed. He's not so weird. But when Jesse is explaining how he knows of this Jenna and Aaron situation, he says, Luke actually told me that he heard a rumor that Michelle went over to Aaron's and another woman was there who may be this Jenna. And I'm like, Luke is getting messy. He is really leaning into being Mr. Doty.
Well, look, this is the thing. Like, couples gonna couple. Like, you can't, you know, look, if you're gonna say that Britney knew what she was getting when she got together with Jax, then you gotta say Luke knew what he was getting into when he got in with Kristen. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna have to say, like, look, there's sometimes we attract people because we're a little bit of a birds of a feather. And I do think that, you know, Kristen and Luke are that couple that like to gossip. Like he's that guy who doesn't like to say that he likes to gossip, but he likes to gossip.
Yeah.
In fact, let's just be honest. All the men on this show like to gossip with their wives. So like,
I was gonna say the only difference is that Jax may have made Britney a worse person, but I like to think that Kristen Doute makes everyone she comes in contact better.
These little love letters, these little love notes that you're sending out to Kristen Doute. Like, please, Kristen, like,
Smoke a
love
cig
us.
with me. Be my friend.
Yeah. First postpartum sig with Jordan
Yeah.
Ross Myers.
On me. Name your brand.
Mhm.
You get a card.
Was it at the party that Brittany said that she found out that Jax had made up that lie that we knew was a lie. I knew was a lie about him, that he had to go to the urgent care because he thought he was having a heart attack. You know, he was, and like, but that the fact that he apparently, the therapist told her that he made the front desk person at the rehab center cry because he was like, you have to lie for me. You have to lie for me and tell them that I went here. And then in the after show, he's like, I didn't do that. I wouldn't know how to fake a heart attack. I wouldn't. And it was like, dude, you lied. You lied so hard. You knew exactly. Who would know? You called your sister while she was on the phone being taped and you told her that. Like, shut the fuck up.
In the after show, his guy friends there didn't believe him. They knew he would.
No.
They knew he would tell the receptionist to lie for him. No one was buying it.
Yeah, literally, Jesse Lally goes, you're Jax Taylor.
Yeah. I mean, we get from that too. Of course, he's going back on his word. Now he wants to keep half the podcast, which is where I was going too, with him selling her merch and stuff, which, by the way, on eBay, which is a very Kim and Croy situation. And I was like, if this really podcast makes this kind of money, why is he selling like tote bags from a brand deal 3 years ago online? I'd like to know.
We do know. Well, because let's add it up.
His expensive habit that landed him in rehab.
Expensive habit, but also, where is it? It was later on when Brittany's talking to the lawyer, but she's going over a little bit more of the financial situation. And I paused. We'd already heard some of it, but I don't know. This time around, it just got me even more that I didn't know that he had $1.2 million in back taxes owed. And when they got married. And so then the IRS was going to throw him in jail. So then they added that onto their mortgage. So that's why the mortgage went from $8,000 to $18,000. And then apparently the IRS took, this is what gave me pause. The IRS went and took $100,000 out of her bank account to help start paying for that. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I was like doing the math. Now, granted, I'm not a math major, but I'm not a math dumbass either. That increase in the mortgage was a 225% increase in their mortgage. Like, oh.
Yeah.
All for him. And he just keeps crying all this stuff. I was like, you have put this woman in such financial jeopardy. And then he's saying that the house is in foreclosure. And again, I don't believe him. But as we were talking about on the Beverly Hills episodes, when it came to the pre-foreclosure, which I didn't believe was a thing until I looked it up, and I was like, oh, it actually is a thing.
Or with Dorit.
It sounds like Dorit. Yeah, with Dorit and PK. It sounds like maybe their house was in pre-foreclosure. That situation of like, if you pay up to this point, then it gets out of pre-foreclosure. But the fact that he would basically saddle her, that she would get out of this marriage and she literally be paying not really just the mortgage on the house, but she would be paying his back taxes because they are associated with the mortgage on the house.
Yeah.
And then he's acting like, oh my gosh, she's such a bad person. Fuck all the way off, dude.
I want to look into how that works. Because there is criminal tax evasion. And then there is you haven't paid your taxes and you're hit with debt. I wonder, I mean, well, it was a large amount. I didn't know, you know what I mean? I didn't know you could buy your way out because they put very rich people in prison for tax evasion. It's not like they could just, Leona Helmsley could have just written a check. Yeah. She didn't.
Well, I think the difference, and a lawyer can correct us or educate us in the comments, please. I think the thing is intent, because
Yeah.
I think Jax just was like, I'm just not going to pay my taxes.
Hmm.
Whereas criminal tax evasion would be, do like, I'm not paying my taxes. In fact, I'm going to do things to hide my taxes
Yeah.
illegally so that I don't have to pay them. And that's criminal tax
Yeah.
evasion. So finding different ways, not like, like, look, Jax could have set up trusts and could have figured out ways to legally avoid paying certain taxes, but he didn't do that because, again, he's not smart.
This is why Bravo now, Jax is a big example of why Bravo now withholds taxes when they pay you. When he
Good.
started Vanderpump, and it happened with Housewives too, different cities, different, you would hear about them because they would just give you say you make 600,000 a season or 40,000 an episode, whatever. They would just distribute it in full, and it was up to you to pay your manager, your taxes, your agent, your whatever. Now they withhold a certain amount of taxes because they're gonna have to spend a lot on casting every year, replacing people as they go to prison. No, they were.
Well, I also think legally that's better too, because at least under California law, like, that's, you would not be, in my opinion, that's not a 1099 worker. That's not a freelance. Like, you're under a contract, because you do have to come and you do have to show up and do your job at certain times that they dictate, that the production company dictates that you be there. Whereas if you're a freelancer, you can just come and go as you please, as long as you get the job done within a certain time frame that is requested.
Yeah,
that
friends
you do it.
friends of I can tell you are 1099
Yeah.
or whatever. They get paid by the day of filming.
Exactly, because they're a day player. So there you go. But cast members, no, that's legally, I think that's better too.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, then this gave me PTSD. Well, first, this gave me PTSD. Went back to Vanderpump Rules, one of the most recent miserable seasons. Michelle arrives at Lala's, and Lala's like, do you want water? I have sparkling, I have flat. And I was like, oh my God, the water tasting in James Kennedy's backyard.
I totally forgot about that. I've blocked that out of my mind.
I was waiting for her to be like, would you like some of my Lala K by Evian? Like, just, I thought it was going to go farther. I was glad it didn't. But of course, it's sad, though. I didn't know this. I don't think she's mentioned it before, Michelle.
She has, but not, like, it wasn't mentioned during the first season, but it started to come out after the season had aired. But it is being mentioned because they found out, I think, right before she started filming. It was just like she didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
So this is again why I think that I say it I'm a broken record. I say it every episode. But that she's the Katie Maloney, because I feel that she processes things differently. Brittany is going to be more open with what is going on, and Michelle's a little bit more quiet. Like, I think about it, like, I have two friends who've been sick with the same form of cancer, actually, and one is very public about it, putting it, all of that, where the other one, I didn't know she was sick for a very long time because she was very private. She didn't want anybody to know. And it was just, and in fact, I was like, what's going on with her? Like, what's wrong? There's something up. Like, is she mad at me? Like, da, da, da. And it's just the way that different people process what they're going through. So I just feel that, like, Michelle is just an internal processor, and it makes her come off like, and I'm just going to say, I don't think she's this way, but this is the way the viewers are viewing her, as a bitch.
Well, yeah. I mean, the point of reality TV, they need you to be open and outgoing. And so she's doing herself a disservice.
Yeah.
But I mean, I felt terrible for her, but I can't blame myself because I didn't know the whole season. They dropped it in that moment. So of course that's what we think.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
but yeah,
exactly.
the cancer itself. I mean, that also makes that also really makes Jesse look like a monster, to be honest.
And not just
This
that her
is
mother has cancer. Her mother is dying of
yeah.
it.
She Michelle said on the show. I mean,
Yeah.
stage 4 chemo isn't taking, and she doesn't think she has much time. It's not like we're
Mhm.
projecting that, but it's like yeah, she could have used that card a little earlier this season.
But then I feel like people would say you're using that card. You know, I feel like she's processing it that way. And for me also it kind of made sense of like, well, of course you went and sought comfort outside of your marriage because you weren't getting comfort inside of your
Mm-hmm.
marriage.
But this was
So,
I just mean, when she explains all that, she left a huge piece of the puzzle out. And
mhm.
that's always been the issue. Like, what's more between them? Is it just they fell out of love? Like, is he just wrapped up in himself and she went cheating? Like,
Mhm.
she really did herself a disservice, is what I'm saying. She could have used that
Well,
earlier
I
if
well
she
I
wants
well
the
I am
audience to like understand her perspective.
Well, they were together last season. So this is the first season that they're apart. And
Hmm.
we're only 9 episodes in. And I would say only 9 episodes, but it's not the Jesse Michelle are the main characters. You know, they're splitting their time between, 10 main characters,
Hmm.
10 storylines. So it's like there's only so much time. So I agree with what you're saying, yet I also give that space of like there's just her story's slowly coming out. It is trickling out. It
Yeah.
is its own cat fountain.
Yeah. What else is there on this one? We have, oh
The
boy.
El Compadre what's I was going to use a term consortium, not consortium, El Compadre something.
Convention. Well, they went to a
Convention,
Mexican
that's what I was looking
restaurant. Yeah,
for.
yeah. They went to a
Yes.
Mexican restaurant. And Jasmine once again flips.
That I've been on Jasmine's side. But this I was like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Excuse me. Excuse me. Like there was a lot of backtracking on both sides. There was a lot of backtracking. But I felt like Jasmine was throwing Kristen under the bus
Mm-hmm.
and was like being yeah, I was not happy with this at all.
Yeah, so it's Jasmine, Melissa, with Janet and Jason hashing out what happened at the beach, where Jasmine called her, like vibe sucking, energy killing Karen or whatever. And so they're talking about it. And yeah, I understood why Jasmine wanted her girlfriend there, because she said part of the reason she reacted the way was she felt ganged up on at the beach. So it was 2 against 1. So I guess it comforts her. But something else I caught in that, in the way Jason and Janet are so quick to accept the apology and move on and
Mhm.
shift focus to Kristen, is Janet. Janet wants to take Kristen down.
That's exactly what I wrote. I said, "Oh yes, we're gonna sweep it all under the rug with you, Jasmine and Melissa, so that we can turn around and just blame Kristen
Yeah.
because Kristen's the problem."
Janet thinks she's running her own Fox Force 5 here. That's why I keep saying she's playing a housewives game on a non-housewife show.
That's it.
Yeah.
That is it.
And
She's not.
And it's also probably why some of her schemes and plotting, they don't land. This isn't a show as sophisticated and catty. This is get wasted, scream at each other, whatever happens. It's not Chanel. It's not Chanel, and you know what I mean. That would work on
Mhm.
Beverly Hills, but she lives in Valley Village, so
She lives in Burbank.
really, it's even
Yeah,
farther.
she
Yeah.
lives in the flats of Burbank.
Yeah, so she's gonna have to get a little more, I wouldn't say youthful of the game. It's not like these people are in their 20s still, like at the beginning of Vanderpump Rules, but she's playing a game for a different show and a different demographic.
Mhm.
Believe me, Brittany isn't going. Brittany, Brittany Cartwright Couchy is not going to pick up on these little plots the way Vanderpump and Rinna would. You're like, did you catch at the end when they wrap up this restaurant scene, this powwow, where Janet says she's starting to realize that first of all, this was insulting to Jasmine. Janet says she's starting to realize that Jasmine isn't the mastermind she thought she was. It's all Kristen Doute.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a backhanded compliment.
No matter how much camera time you get, Janet, you will never be a real housewife. No. What she's doing is shifting focus. Like, now I can have my army to take down Kristen, that national treasure, the woman who gave birth to this show. Which, by the way, that's something else I've been thinking about with the confessionals and stuff, and the way Kristen has managed in a way to stay out of a lot of the drama. And a lot of her contribution to the show this season is confessionals or giving really good advice to the people or being very understanding. And I was like, is she what LVP was to Vanderpump Rules? Is Kristen to the cast of the Valley? She's the wise mentor.
You should watch your mouth right there. And like, okay, I think your postpartum cigarette invitation might have just been thrown in the trash by Kristen, by you saying that she's like LVP. She'd be fine with saying that like she's like the voice of reason and like giving like advice, but don't compare her to LVP.
I meant that in a good way, by the way. And in my world, if the world was just, Kristen would be living in Villa Rosa. She deserves it all.
Oh my god.
Because if Kristen can make it there, then I can too. So I'm really just like trying to push people with our behavioral patterns to the top. So that gives me hope.
I mean, look, if Kristen wanted to, she could have, just like we were talking about before, that Janet she weaponized her pregnancy last season. She weaponizes her children, like Jax weaponizes his child. So does Jesse. If Kristen was really a villain, she could weaponize her infertility, like going through all that, but she hasn't. Like, it has been a sore spot for her. It is something that she's talked about. But she hasn't weaponized. She hasn't thrown it in people's faces of like, you should like feel sorry for me because I'm hormonal, because I'm doing this, or because I didn't get pregnant. Like, that's not what she's doing at all. She's there for her friends.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
She stands up for them.
And when she talks to Britney and stuff, she's so proud of her. And like, she really, I mean, it was those kind of like when LVP would summon the servers up to the garden and talk to them and give them like, you should do this, or I'm really glad you're doing that. I feel like Kristen's like a mentor to these people, as she always should have been.
Well, because she's been on reality TV the longest, along with Jax, but Jax is whatever. Yeah. He's a fart in the wind. Well, I enjoyed the junk food packing party. Like, I thought that was hilarious. The amount of junk food that was there, that was delivered to the house, and then throwing all of his stuff into garbage bags. I was like, I was kind of the opinion, because having kicked out an ex before, I was like, who wouldn't move his stuff out. And I just was like, I would pack it up myself, but I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to pack up your shit. So I'm kind of like of that opinion. But at the same time, if you have a packing party where everybody does it with you, like, and also he shouldn't be back in that house. Like, no excuse for him to be back in that house whatsoever. I think it was smart. So yeah, just the emotional damage that he does.
Once again, our sage guide Kristen came up with the idea to separate his shoes.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Jax
it's just those little things.
He has a bit of OCD, doesn't he? He has.
So it's perfect.
Drive him. Yeah.
She knows him so well, Kristen does, that she knows that'll drive. It's not just petty, it's petty for Jax, like to get into Jax's head, that he'll be looking for shoes for months, because also he won't unpack those things right away either. Like, oh my God, it's crazy that he's so OCD, yet he is so disgusting when it comes to like, his kinks.
Yeah.
I will kink shame that man. That man's gross. Like, no,
Yeah.
like yeah. Anyway, he's so gross. He's so gross.
And we get something to now. I feel bad. So this is where I say like Michelle should have should have used the C card earlier. No, but now
Oh yeah.
because if this was Michelle looks around and is like they're so supportive of Brittany, and I'm going through the same, if not worse. No one's here for me. And if she had done that last episode, I'd have been like, you are so annoying. But now I'm like, wow, yeah, actually, you are going through a lot, if not worse. And it's kind of true.
Yeah, you get it now. Like, oh, the and worse part is not just Jesse being a different type of narcissist, but it's your mother's dying at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, that's really, really tough. And I also, and this is what I wrote too, but that like, because feeling bad for Michelle, divorcing this narcissist who people don't seem to kind of realize exactly that he is as bad as Jax, but just in a different way. Then your mom is dying. And then you like, you go find comfort outside of your marriage, which yes, she knows is wrong, but she's been denied it so much inside of her marriage. So she goes and she finds it. And then when she finally leaves, she gets crucified for doing it, like by her ex. And he's putting it out there in public, you know, for her. Like, yeah, am I a Michelle apologist at the moment? Yes, I am. But you know, but Jax did the same to Brittany. Jax did because he's trying to crucify her in public for sleeping with Julian. He brings up Julian all the time, and it was like, Jax, like, how many times could we bring up Faith? Could we bring up like all the nameless women that you have slept with? The woman that apparently you slept with, who like all these, like, Brittany has receipts from all these women that you've slept with, pictures in your own bed in your house with your pictures of your child in the background. Like, you're disgusting, dude.
Yeah.
Like, stop it.
He's
trying to
when Brittany was talking about women DMing her these receipts, I was like, first I was like, oh, are they letting her know? Like, here's a heads up what your husband's doing. And I'm like, that could have been the text messages. No, they were sending her trophies. I slept with your husband. Here I am in your bed. I was like, oh.
They're horrible pick-me's. They're horrible. Like, oh, you think it was a prize to sleep with Jax fucking Taylor? That's disgusting. Oh my gosh. Go to the clinic in NoHo, girl.
Oh my God. And then when Brittany goes to the divorce attorney, it's a Lifetime movie. Brittany is living in a Lifetime movie. Those texts were chilling. Everyone will tell me if you go tattling again. The tattling was so creepy. It was so creepy. It was, you're locked in my basement. You better not tell anyone. Like, it was very like kidnapper, molester, stalker. It was just very like
all of those things.
Cringe.
All of those things. Yes. It's predatory. It's predatory. And like, and that's the thing, like with divorce attorneys, they've seen so much shit. Like, oh my gosh, they've heard so much stuff. And so for this divorce attorney, I'm not saying that, I don't feel like the divorce attorney was, this is just my opinion, because she seemed pretty like calm, cool, and collected. She didn't seem necessarily shocked, but she did seem disturbed, if that makes sense. Of like, oh girl, you need to file. Like, this is bad. No bueno.
I was kind of cracking up a little at something he did, only because I've done it as a prank, where I was the text where Jax is saying, I know you're drinking, I have eyes and ears. Everyone's going to tell me if you tattle on me again, and go party while I'm in here. I have everyone watching you like a hawk. That's disturbing. But one time in high school, I texted my friend, and I could just kind of picture where she was in her house. Like, I knew she was like, look out the window. Look, your lamp is on. Like, I was just random things in her room. Like, I knew she had this Disney lamp. I was like, the Disney lamp's on. Like, of course, it's like 8 p.m. It's dark at night. I was just saying, and she's like, apparently she was freaked out looking outside the window. Like, where is he? Is he in the bushes? Is he on the street? It was just,
That's so scary, Jordan. That is so scary. Of course, you wouldn't think a man wouldn't think that that was scary, but a woman is like, oh my god, yes, that's fucking terrifying.
yeah, it was just little things. I'm like, no, you're looking out the wrong. I don't know how. I just knew, like, I was doing it as a prank. She's like, where is he? How did he know the new lamp's on?
I think this is the perfect example of the difference between men and women. Like, you're just innocently like trying to like pull a joke on a friend, on a friend that's a woman, and she's fucking freaking out because like that's what happens. I will say, because we get a lot of we get comments, but I see comments a lot on social media, you know, about like that Jax Taylor should be taken off our screens and yada yada yada, which I do not disagree with, because I don't want him to have a platform or like be able to spew his crap out in his mouth. However, I will say I do think watching this happen this season on the Valley is very educational for both men and women to see in real time how a narcissistic, toxic, stalkerish relationship goes down, and how one person, Jax Taylor, can make it look, the way they talk and the way that they talk their way out of everything, and make it seem to one set of people, i.e. also the police, I'm just saying, and the way it actually is really happening and affecting the victims, Britney, Cruz, those people. And I think it's a very good, if people can really just watch it as like, this is a man hunting a woman.
Yeah,
like,
that's why I kept saying it's a Lifetime movie. The cameras, the removing, turning the cameras back on, but it's the whole thing. Yeah, it's Lifetime.
Yeah,
Garcelle can produce this next one. The Brittany.
Sometimes it's educational. Garcelle can produce it. Sometimes, reality television can be educational in that sense, if we choose to take it, because like please just listen when women are scared, or men are scared of their former romantic partners or their romantic partners. Anyhow.
Brittany, the lawyer, they filed for divorce. The lawyer, that's quick. Something that's I thought about more and more, because I deal with lawyers and stuff, is that was not, all that was set up before. What I mean is that conversation happened in private, lawyer to client. I always say patient client, not patient, lawyer, attorney client privilege. That real conversation happened, and then they filmed it for camera. Just so you guys know, a lawyer would never just meet a client off the street and tell her file for divorce with cameras fine. But I don't mean it was staged or fake. It's just that conversation, like, legally kind of has to happen in private before they film it.
Yeah, I did think it was interesting when Brittany said, "I thought I would cry," and the lawyer said, "You're not crying because you were ready, because you've already been like mourning." And it's true. I think, and that's what happens with a lot of breakups. I think, from the women's side, because a lot of times women give these relationships a lot of chances, and they cry a lot during the relationship because they're trying to make it work, and and then when they finally hit that wall that it's not working, they don't cry, really. Like, when they finally break up, in that sense, because they're like, I'm so done. And that's what she said. She's like, I'm scared, but I'm also relieved.
Yeah.
And I was like, I feel you, girl.
She was dead inside for him. It was over.
Yeah.
She said, rip the Band-Aid off.
Well, and she said back when they were packing up his stuff that she knows how she can get drawn back into him, and that she doesn't like that. She knows that he gets, so like, it's another reason to pack up his stuff and kick it out, because she just doesn't want any opportunity to get drawn back in. And I'm like, good girl, good. Yeah. Like, Kristen and I are standing with you on that one. Yep.
I have the SIGs. I'm off the camera. And so where does that lead to? Which is turning Jaxes into Britney. Or
Yeah,
turning
Brits.
Jaxes into Brits. Yeah.
Yep. Which I thought was great. I think that was great. Like, that's a good way
I liked what Zach
celebrate
said
her.
when he's like, because I think he could read the audience in that moment. He's going to be like, so if anyone's like, well, Jax is in a mental health facility right now and he's fragile, he's like, blah, blah, blah. Not fragile. Move on. Because it's like,
Yeah.
Jax is sitting
That
there
man is
taunting this woman like he's Hannibal Lecter. Literally, it's like Buffalo Bill, Silence of the Lambs. And we have to worry about him having his feelings hurt that a neon sign on a business he doesn't actually own.
right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He lied saying that he was having a heart attack, that his blood pressure was up, and yet we're supposed to be concerned that he's gonna get his feelings hurt, that they turned his bar that he basically leases his name out to.
Mhm.
Like, they turned it into Brits for one fucking night that they paid money to like make a sign and put stuff
Yeah.
up and everything like that. Fuck on off, everybody, including Jesse fucking Lally. Like, feeling all like uncomfortable about it. No. Then leave, Jesse. Just leave. I'm gonna go pick up this guy tomorrow, and they're doing this and they're wearing shirts. Shut up.
Oh,
Have a
that,
spine. Yeah, I was like, just F right on off. Just no. He's like shit on my shoe is what he is. Just scrape him off. I was no. No. It made me tear up a little bit, like how like they were coming together for her. I was like, this is so sweet.
Well, it also hurt Michelle's feelings once again.
It did.
What Michelle needs right now, in a very Koto de Casa sense, she needs a casserole. No one is bringing her a casserole. She just wants a casserole.
Michelle, send me your address and I will Postmate you a casserole.
Yeah.
Like,
Good. But yeah, I mean, that's where on this, when they're on their way over too, I mean, that's what it's talking about with Kristen. I'm running out of like synonyms and different words to describe how wise and just wonderful she is. But she's in the
she's sage.
Yeah. She's just perfect. No, there's no, but she is in the back of the car on the way over there telling Brittany, like, I'm so proud of you. Don't feel bad. He had years to fix himself and he never did. And that's when the LVP role kind of, I could picture them in the garden at Villa Rosa and LVP being like, you leave him. He had years, too little to, like when she'd whip the kids into shape. That's Kristen.
Yeah. Well, and then, but speaking of Kristen, I found it very interesting that, so to go back to the whole wedding ring, Janet, Kristen, Jason, Jasmine thing, Janet starts bringing it up again, but Kristen's like, yo, we had a filmed but unseen until flashback scene of like us talking it out and squashing this beef about the thing. And now you're bringing it up again. And I was like, that's it. This is Janet making Kristen the villain. Like, come on, dude. I was like, of course, Janet's just going to keep bringing it up. She's not going to let that die. She's not going to let Danny's drinking die. Although we did see Danny not take that shot when Nia was looking, and then take it when she wasn't. Just saying.
That was
like, but then the guys go, he's a lightweight. And I go, that's what it is. He's a lightweight. He cannot handle his alcohol.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, like in Santa Barbara and stuff. I don't think he's an alcoholic. I don't think it's like hide the booze. Like Nia has to hide the scotch at 10 a.m. The whiskey, I don't think he handles alcohol well. They showed the timestamp, 90 minutes he had all that alcohol, which is what I do when there's an open bar. So
I think it's like he wants to be one of the guys, but it's like, Danny, you can't drink like the 6'1" guys can.
Yeah, that's
like you can't. You physically cannot drink like the 6'1" guys,
Yeah.
even though you are a man and you can't tolerate alcohol better than a woman. Like, you just can't. And I think it's better if he just accepts his limits and works within them. And hopefully he gets there sooner than later.
And
But
this is where, again, the housewives comes into play when he's walking away and Janet starts saying things. Well, my husband doesn't grab asses. My husband's not an alcoholic. She was trying to prod him, poke him into reacting. She wanted that Lisa Rinna. She wanted him to, I don't mean punch a woman, but she wanted him to lose his cool, scream at her, and then she could be like, oh my God, he beats women too. Like, Nia, does he beat you? He screamed at me. She wanted that.
see, he's exactly what I said. Well, I was writing down that in her confessional, she's like, it's because I care. I was like, no, if you cared, then you wouldn't throw these barbs and insults at him while he's drunk. If you cared, you and Jason would sit him and Nia down and have a conversation while all four of you are sober. But you're not doing that. You're inflaming the situation. You're not de-escalating it at all. You're doing this for the cameras. You're doing it for a storyline. You're doing it for the plot, and not in the plot in the fun, like, Gen Z type of way. No.
And Nia had a good read on it, because she, right down the middle, she's like, I'm not babysitting my husband anymore. He's wasted. I can't control it. I'm going to go over here and have a drink. She wasn't hiding it, but she wasn't like, and then she was also like, on the other side, Janet is attacking my husband, saying she does it out of friendship. So, I mean, do you think Janet wants them to divorce? I mean,
I think Janet just is an agent of chaos.
Yeah. But it's like, I mean, I think in Janet's head when she came on the show, she thought she had the golden marriage because her husband's likable so far. I do see, I don't think Jason's going to be so pristine forever. I don't have the inside line on that. I just mean, he's a lawyer. He's playing it carefully. But what I'm saying is that's what she wants. She wants to be like, look, she came on a show with Jax. She came on a show with Kristen. She thought her marriage was going to be the one good one. And I mean, it could have been, except she's the wife in it. If she wasn't in her marriage, it could have been good. And then you have Nia and Danny, and everyone's like, she's irritated. They play it very like wholesome. And the more I think about it, it's that housewife's game. She wants to take them down.
And we've said it before. If you come into these shows thinking that you know how you're going to play out your season, it's never going to work out well for you. The audience can see through it. Nothing ever works out that way. So just, you really have to you can't orchestrate these things. This is the reality of reality television, is let these things play out. Yeah. Let them happen.
She thinks she's the LVP of the group here, the puppet master. And the other thing too about it is, which doesn't help, but I don't think she sees herself the way the audience does. And is that in moments on the show where she's fake concerned or fake vulnerable, then cut to her confessional where she's smug. It's very, like we said earlier in the season, she wants to be Stassi. Smug in that Stassi way. Just like, I forgot what she's. And
the problem is she cares too much. Like Stassi didn't care what other people thought of her. Janet cares too much. Right.
Stassi's Janet is trying to replicate Stassi. That's what I mean. So on camera, like when she did that thing with holding her kid in the ball pit because it's all affecting her so much. And then you cut to her confessional and she's like trying to suppress the grin. Well, no one's buying it. It's too she's producing. Maybe the housewife she could have been on was the reboot of New York, because she's very clearly self-producing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well. I mean, it leaves us with basically Jax getting, I mean, the to be continued, which is Jax is getting picked up the next morning from rehab.
Yeah,
You know,
I still have no
right.
idea. What is with the changes of clothes? What is with, there are a lot of, he keeps going back to the house to check it. What I mean is, it'll be like, oh yeah, Jack stopped by the house to check his mail, change his clothes, whatever. I'm like, every episode he's just been by the house. How many? I've never heard of a rehab, especially for an initial visit. This is like when you're kind of under lockdown normally, and then they loosen you into like, they're kind of giving him like halfway house privileges, like work release. I mean, I still don't, I want to oh, maybe if we read through the credits, and they may not have done this, but maybe if we read through the credits and see at the very, very end a promotional consideration provided by, we'll find out the name of the rehab.
I seriously doubt it, but I'll let you do that. So, or let our viewer, let our viewers and listeners do that and leave it in the comment section.
I just like, it's obviously this was for free. Obviously, I have no idea if this was actually a rehab. I'm like, maybe in the box, because like when you go on a cast trip, it will say like the airline provided, the hotel provided. I'm like, I want to see which rehab was giving away the weird, this non-rehab rehab. I'd like to know the name.
Yeah. Well, next week we'll find out more. So yeah,
Jax returns.
Well, if you want to hear us return, you guys know what to do. Follow us, subscribe, all that stuff. Yes.
Have cigs
Instagram.
with us.
Yeah.
With
YouTube.
Kristen.
Instagram. TikTok. Oh my God, wouldn't that be great TikTok to have you and Kristen smoking? Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I really just understand her. I don't know how to explain it.
Yep.
Actually, I do. I just don't want to incriminate myself. Let's just on that note. 818. What did I say? Adios.
Adios from the Great 18, right? That's it.
Deuces.